Hello all MPAC users. This short video will help you to safely use Avanti centrifuges available for you in the fermentation room in the MPAC. Hopefully you will feel safe about your runs after watching this short tutorial. In case of any questions, email MPAC or speak to Annette Stewart or Sam Casford. Things to learn before starting your run: what to use the centrifuge for, types of rotors available in the MPAC, how to balance your samples, how to close centrifuge bottles, how to fit the rotor into the centrifuge, how to start your run. Please pay extra attention to the part about closing bottles, as most of the Avanti problems are caused by leaking bottles, which leads to drive damage. Leaking is caused by poor tightening or overfilling bottles with liquid. You guys know the best what you need Avanti centrifuge for, but if you are new here, you are welcome to use it for harvesting cells, spinning after sonication, spinning after boiling or precipitation, etc. On this slide you can see types of rotors available in the fermentation room. These three rotors are specific for Avanti centrifuges and no other rotor can go inside this particular centrifuge. If we will get a new type of rotor, or one of these will be missing, because they can have their lifetime and it can happen that we will not be replacing them, you'll be informed about that. The smallest rotor has its ID, and that ID is JA25.5, and maximum speed for this rotor is 25,000 RPM. Middle-sized rotors ID is JLA 10.500 and it can reach maximum speed 10,000 RPM. The biggest rotor and also the heaviest one is called JLA 8,000 and maximum speed for it is 8,000 RPM. As you can see, each rotor has its lid and it is crucial to place the lid on the top of the rotor to secure the rotor on the centrifuge's drive. Okay, now let's skip to the part where you want to balance your samples before placing it in the centrifuge. MPAC has really nice balance scales. You can place your sample on both sides and adjust. Please remember that before starting balancing your samples, the racks needs to be balanced too. For small 40 milliliters tubes, all kind of racks are available, but for big bottles we would like you to use these plastic beakers. For these 40 milliliter tubes, it is okay to fill it up with 40 milliliters and balance together with caps. Smaller volumes will also work, but 40 milliliter will be your maximum.
For these 400 milliliter bottles to run with middle size rotor, you need to be careful not to overload. Filling the bottle to 3/4 or less, but not less than 250 milliliters, will be the best option. For some reason, these bottles tend to leak a lot, and this is causing huge centrifuge imbalance. On this slide, you can see what needs to be balanced before placing in the rotor. The metal parts are canister with its lid and plastic parts are bottled with its lid. It all fits nicely to the beaker while balancing.
Here is a very nice picture of how to balance the biggest type of bottles. Of course, all parts needs to be in the beaker. The tricky part here is that canisters might have different weight, and to make your life easier, they are painted with the same color for the closest weight. And in this case, we have two yellow canisters, 1 lid per bottle and 1 cap per bottle. Please remember that these bottles will work the best with volume around 1 liter. Putting more is not possible. Putting slightly less will work, but for example, putting 500 milliliters is not possible at all. After spin, make sure that you use 70% ethanol for washing bottles. FAM 30, also available in the M pack, is not allowed. This will stain bottles forever, so we don't want it. This slide will explain how to tightly close 1 liter bottle, as people usually have the biggest struggle with it. On the left hand side is the bottle with its amber lid, which you put on the top of the bottle first, and then you will screw cap on the top of it. Screwing it with your hands is probably not enough. So to make sure cap is tightened enough, use torque wrench and its adapter shown on the middle photo. Torque wrench has scale, and while twisting it clockwise, it should indicate 60 inch-pounds. If it happened that you secured the cap using torque and your bottles leaked anyway, please email MPAC.
On this slide you can see an MPAC user who's trying to tighten the 1 liter bottle and using for this reason black rubber stand to stabilize the bottle. The bottle usually is quite heavy and that rubber stand helps a lot. Here you can see what torque wrench indicates. So while twisting clockwise, it should indicate 60 inch-pounds.
Fitting rotors on drive, so you'll be doing it the same way for all types of rotors. And you need to remember that rotors are heavy and they have small holes in the middle. So you need to make sure you fit it fast and correctly. Easy way to do it is to first set up drives pins facing 9 o'clock. There are 2 pins and they are pointed towards 9 o'clock. So let's now bring the rotor into the centrifuge. While lifting it, please make sure that bottle position number 1 is facing 12 o'clock. In this position, you can gently lower rotor down onto the drive and make sure drive's pins contain rotor's pins in between. I am almost sure you were correct doing it this way, but it is necessary for you to check if everything is in the right position. Even if you spin only 2 liters, please make sure that you fill up rest of the holes in the rotor with empty pad cartridges. The same rule is for the middle-sized rotor. If you spin 4, then you need to fill up extra 2. After securing rotor with the lid, you can set up spinning parameters. Choose correct rotor ID on the screen. Also speed, time and temperature. Press enter after each parameter and at the very end as well. Press start to start spinning and wait by the centrifuge until it reaches maximum speed set up by you. So key points after watching this tutorial are that your samples should always be precisely balanced, and your bottles should be properly closed using torque wrench if needed, and this will apply to 1 liter bottles. Please always make sure that rotor fits on drive with pins in the right place. Close the rotor with lid. Lid will secure rotor on the drive. We had a case when someone didn't do it or didn't do it properly, and there was a huge bang in the room, which was pretty dangerous. Set up adequate speed for your rotor and wait next to the centrifuge until desired speed has been reached.